Hi, it's Chris. In this video, we're going to show you how to make a simple and inexpensive dust collector for your shop vac. So we looked at many different ideas online on how to build your own dust collector, and the one that inspired us the most started out with 2 buckets. So the concept with our 2 buckets is we're basically going to take and put one up on top of the other, and we'll be showing you how to marry them together to make the base of the dust collector. So the other thing we'll need beside our dust collector body will be a way to connect our hoses. And for that, we're just going to be using some basic plumbing fittings that you'll be able to pick up at any hardware store. So first thing we need to do is remove the handle on one of the buckets. So to remove the handle, I'm just using a pair of side cutters. Tin snips works just fine. So the next thing we're going to do is just cutting this upper piece off, and that allows us to have our top section make the friction fit into the lower bucket. So we're going to be cutting that top lip off. Today I'm using my jigsaw to make this cut. You want to make sure you've got your safety gear on. Let's give it a go. So after making that cut, you can see we have a bit of a rough edge that's got to be cleaned up a little bit. So I'm just going to take my utility knife and just run it around the top on the inside to get rid of that burr. So now we're going to want to remove the burr on the outside edge, and as well we want to do that so that we're basically shaving it off, so we're creating a little bit of a bevel on this side. And this is going to make it so that our top easily pushes into the base but gives us that friction fit. So now let's marry our top to our bottom and see how good our fit is. And there we go. There's our tank for our dust collector. Okay, so now we want to figure out where our hoses are going to attach, and the hose that's going to be coming from our shop vac is going to be going right in the center. So that makes it nice and easy. The other one that's actually going to be coming from our pickup hose going into the tank is going to be attached to the outer edge. Now on the base of these, you'll notice they have an up and a down. They're wavy. So we want to have ours in the lowest section of those waves. So that's right about here. So you might be able to see it, you might not, but ideally you're going to be able to see where the bucket base goes up and down. It's kind of wavy. So now we're going to take one of our 1.5" ABS couplings, set it onto that low spot, and I'm going to be about 1/2 inch off the actual edge of the bucket. I'm just going to take my marker and make a mark in the center, and that's where I'm going to drill my first hole. So I'm just going to be using my cordless drill and a hole cutting saw to make these holes. So now we're ready to drill our other hole. So now that the holes are drilled, we're going to take some of our plumbing fittings, put them together in order to make our connections for our hoses. So we're just going to insert the smaller piece into the coupling, push it tight together. Now we're going to come up from the inside of the bucket and bring our other piece and push it down on top. So now that we have our first connection made, we're going to have to build our second one. And our second one is where the material that you suck up is actually going to be injected into the container. So we put our short piece into our coupler and we push this one down into the hole. Once that's done, we're going to build the piece for the inside. So we're going to take our short piece of ABS, insert it into our 90-degree elbow. Then we're going to take our 45-degree elbow and put that on. So that's going to attach like this with our other piece coming down into it. So we want to have this one turned so that it's actually going to be injecting everything to the inside. And you'll be able to see that better from the inside piece. So now that we have this together, we're just going to flip our container over on its side and connect it to our other pipe. So now that we have that all together, we're just going to rotate that so the edge of the elbow is touching the side of the bucket, because we're going to need to put a screw through in order to hold it in place. So we're just going to set this down and we're going to take a measurement from where that screw is going to come through up to the top edge so we can put that screw in. Now just make a mark where that screw is going to go through. Start that into the bucket. So now we're just going to flip our bucket over, take our 2 pipe caps, slip them on over our fittings, and tighten up the clamps. So now we need to drill a hole in each of these end caps, and that's so our hoses are able to attach. So you want to drill a hole that's smaller than the actual fitting that's going to be going through it. That way you get a good tight friction fit. So I'm going to take my cordless drill, and I have a hole saw that should do the trick, and we'll just drill our hole. And we'll drill our second one. We're just going to check and make sure that we've got the right size. Yes, we have a good friction fit. Perfect. So now that we know our hoses fit just the way they're supposed to, let's take our upper half of our collector and put it on the bottom bucket. So now we got it together, let's give it a test and see if it actually works. So now we're just going to insert our hose for picking up and our hose that goes to our shop vac, and we're ready to try it out. So we've gotten everything sucked up off the floor, so now let's take a look and see how much actually made it into the dust collector. So it looks like everything made it into the dust collector, but let's take a look into the shop vac and see how much wound up there. Wow, that's pretty impressive. Very little material. So the dust collector did work. So as much as overall we were really thrilled with the performance of this, we did learn a few things in the process. One of which is the quality of the bucket. The bucket I chose, we found that when it started to fill up, it actually started to suck in on itself. Not enough to break the suction or come apart, but I think it was just a matter of time before that was going to happen. The other thing is, again, the hose I was using is just a very inexpensive hose, and when we first hooked it up and had it running, the wind whistle that was coming out of that was deafening. So you want to make sure you're using a decent quality hose, not like what we did. And the other thing is, with this being not that huge a dust collector, you don't need a super powerful shop vac. In fact, the smaller the shop vac with a good suction, you'll be more than happy with the performance. So if you have any DIY projects you'd like to see, put it in the comments section below. See you next time.